Good, everybody. Welcome back to the Cloud Slayer channel. Hope you guys are doing well. Today we got another Monday ramble. Yeah, holy buckets. We had a pretty good weekend. Got my butt kicked. Went to Muay Thai class, BJJ class. Oh man, it was my first time ever hitting pads or holding pads for somebody. My grip's still like messed up from holding the thing, but I like it. It was really fun for first time ever hitting pads and stuff like that. I felt awkward trying to hold them, and I felt like I wasn't doing something right. So I'm gonna watch things and see how to properly hold them. Everybody's seemed pretty beginner there, like a beginner there, So perfect for me because that's my level, right? I'm a beginner. All I've ever done was beat up a punching bag, or you fight somebody in person, I guess. But that was a long time ago. I don't do that very often. I don't plan on doing it very often, but I do like to stay active, and this is something I want to pursue. Not fighting, but just working out, doing that as my workout stuff. And my arms were dead by the time I went to roll. Bunch of fresh bodies come in to roll, and it's not an excuse. You gotta learn how to push through that stuff, right? Got guillotined a few times, and man, my shoulders were burning though. I got one submission in, so I was happy with that. And then you take your licks from there. So I got one rear naked choke in, and then after that I died a few times, So, but it was fun. It's always fun. The head guy was there. If anybody's ever interested, Bemidji Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. First class is free. Saturdays is open mats. They have classes during the week. I think it's like Monday through Wednesday. But they got punch cards. You can whatever for your gym dues and stuff like that. So you just got to talk to the guy. You can message them on Instagram, Bemidji BJJ, or also on Facebook. They also got a website. You can go there too. I think they're accredited to a gym out in Fargo. It's a bigger gym. They were talking about it, and they're like, dude, you want to come check out a big gym and see how it is with a lot more people? Just take a drive out there, man. You pay dues here, then you're allowed over there. So, which is pretty cool. The guy, apparently he comes down every so often, and he'll roll with people and stuff like that. So, and he's a legit black belt. And it sounds like it'd be fun, man. It'd sound like it'd be fun. Get smushed by some other people, but, to each their own, you know what I mean? And I don't know. It's always humbling to have to do that stuff, It tells you what you need to work on, because when I go to these classes, it's not about how much strength you can throw into it. It's about how much technique you can accrue, right? And I'd like to go during the week, but it kind of sucks because they're like real early, which makes sense for them because they got to work in the mornings. I work at night, so which kind of stinks. But they got like afternoon classes, so I mean, if I really need to, I'll have to be the one that figures that out, right? And try to do things like that. But right now, I'm beginner. I'm just gonna go every Saturday, and then I'm gonna do workouts after work on my own for some of these things, which isn't as effective as going to a gym. Learning from other people, and listening to your body, I guess, while you're doing those things. It's pretty cool though. But my hands feel like they're gonna fall off after that Muay Thai thing. Even though you're holding these gloves and you're hitting pads, your knuckles, they're still gonna hurt. I don't know. I probably hit the thing like few hundred times anyways during that hour of that. I was sweating all over the place. I think I was the sweatiest person there just after I got out of my truck. But I was coming out, I was getting off of being sick the week before. Like I made mention of losing 25 pounds. My stamina's not there, so I got a lot to work on. I got a lot to look forward to and a lot of things to strive for myself if I want to get better at those things, just because it's fun. So I highly recommend them, especially if you're interested in jiu-jitsu. And like I may have mentioned, they have Muay Thai on the weekends. beginner-friendly classes. So get you down there. Even after the first class, $10 just for a class, day pass. You can discuss with the gym owner. He's for profit, but he doesn't make a profit, right? He invests it all back into there. They're talking about, eventually maybe even getting a bigger gym. I'm pretty sure it cost him more money to operate than what he's bringing in. They got pads, they got gloves. He got new floor mats for the gym, which is really, really nice, and things like that. So it's beautiful to see. And I think they do have some kid classes sometimes. I'm not too sure about that, but I did see them post a little while back where they had like kid classes. So interested in having your kids there. They're freaking awesome people. They're phenomenal people, and especially the owner and some of the higher people there that help him run the thing. They'll walk you through some of the steps of what they're doing, why they do it, and stuff like that. So it's freaking awesome, man. You ever get we'll move on from there anyways. But anyways, perseverance, sometimes we all want to give up. So today I'm going to talk about a little bit about the feeling of wanting to give up and things like that, right? No matter what you do in life, when it requires you to do something, and it's going to be any type of difficult to you or anything like that, you're going to want to give up, right? We all do. We all want to just put it down. People make it look easy, but don't get that wrong. That sometimes in their mind it's like, man, what am I doing this for? Why do I have to do this? This is like below me type stuff. Some people think I can do so much more and stuff like that. When you think like that, when you're putting yourself in a mental space of being above something or too good for something, it makes those tasks that you've been given that much more difficult, right? I guess it's hard to come out of that thought. It's hard to not think that way and not worry about something being good enough for you. Like if it ain't good enough for you, then if it's a job or something, then maybe don't do it. Find a different job that you like a little bit more. It's not going to be perfect, especially if you're looking for a job, right? Some people get lucky. They're like, oh man, this is for me. This is what I like. But chances of that kind of are slim. Some people, they settle for jobs because it puts food on the table, and they happen to be very good at it. Doesn't mean they enjoy it. They're doing what they have to do to feed their family. The only thing that they know how to do, which is very commendable, and it's honorable to me, because not everybody can go live out their dreams. Not everybody can go be a superstar. Not everybody can go be a movie star. Not everybody can be a fighting star. Not everybody can go and just do what they want to do, and make money, make profit, and do all these other cool things. Some people, they got to work for a living, right? They have to, absolutely. Some people, sometimes they make it work when they're at the bottom. So, it's everybody. They have things, internal battles within, but when they look at the problems on the outside, they're like, well, it doesn't matter that I don't want to do this. It doesn't matter that I don't like this job. I need this job for now because this is what's putting the food on the table. This is what's feeding my family. This is what's putting clothes on our back. This is what's keeping a roof over our head. And I guess some people, if that's not for you, then, you got to prepare to go through some hard times until you find that thing that you do want to do, or you find something that you're really good at that can bring you a lot of money, or something that you figure out to do to generate that much more wealth for yourself, right? a lot of people, they're like, oh, this guy's lucky because, you know, they're whoever such and such invested in them, or their parents had a business or something like that. It might be true in some cases, but they still got to put in hard work, right? They still got to work and put forth effort towards that. You know, they still have to gain skills in order to apply them towards that business. You know, or else that business that mom or dad created might collapse because nobody can run it when they go to retire or when they quit or whatever. You know, maybe they just sell it because, you know, they can't take that business with them. It's not going to continue if nobody steps up and does it. Or I guess it get turned into a bigger corporation buying it. I guess there's always that scenario. So, but you know, it all comes with its own hardships and things for people to overcome. And sometimes it's not worth it for them, right? Sometimes your job's not making money, and they're wondering if their doors are going to stay open or not, right? You never know. You never know when the doors can shut on you. I think we've seen that like a lot when COVID first happened. You know, like you can only imagine what's going on in those people's brains. Like, oh my God, like you panicking. You're going to be panicking. What if you're working there for X amount of years and, you know, that's all you've been doing for the last few years, and it's been you know, you've been buying things or whatever, but now you got to move. Maybe now nobody's hiring in your town and you got to move, right? A lot of things like that. Then there's a lot to go into it, you know, and it may be tough because you've spent a lot of years of your life building what you had there, right? For it to fall away and go away. It can happen here, it can happen there, it can happen anywhere. And sometimes it's closer than you think. Sometimes it's not as close as you think. Sometimes it's just disgruntled past employees that are just saying things and trying to create some kind of weird rumor so that some people don't go work there, and which is very common. Like sometimes, I don't know. There's this one guy, I'll use this example, that every day, you know, he's very toxic. I believe I used him once before, but he'd always try to talk somebody into quitting. He'd always talk about how crappy it is and how the paychecks stunk, you know, and this guy would drink almost all the time, you know, always drunk, smoking, and things like that, right? And he never really had full hour paychecks. And, you know, that's not the business's fault. That's not the company's fault. That's your fault. How are you talking people out of working when you're not committed to it? You know, if you're not gonna show up, your paycheck's gonna be smaller. If you're gonna be smoking cigarettes and doing drinking alcohol, that costs money. You know, you gotta live. You gotta put a roof over your head. You know that. Then why are you skipping out on work? You know, and it's sometimes it's some people that let their mind win, right? They're like, oh, well, I don't want to do it, so I'm succumbing to it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going. And you know what? I'm cool with that. I'm just going to go complain about it and bring it out to everybody else. And it can affect other people. Sometimes it's like a plague, you know. I caught myself being sucked into it when I was a younger guy, and then I was like, one day while he was talking, I'm like, you know what? Why am I even listening to this? I could just put my headphones in and not worry about that. Just work, you know, just work my butt off. I don't come here to be depressed, sad, and you know, crying over how crappy a job is. It's like, this job is actually pretty nice because I've worked other jobs that sucked, and where, you know, you got to kiss some ass in order to move up or learn new things in those positions or stuff like that. And you know, that business that I'm referring to, I didn't have to do none of that. I just had to show up, work my butt off. Oh, not even that. You just do what you're supposed to do, and you get recognized for it. You show up when you're supposed to. You do what you're supposed to do. You help others along the way to help them get better too. Bam, it sounds easy. It wasn't easy at the time, right? But looking back, you're like, hey, that was pretty cool. I enjoyed doing those things with other people, helping them learn as well, even if they were new. Especially when they're new. And it's that's part of the fulfilling part of it. But some people, they don't want to go that far. They don't want to do any of that. They just want more money and they want higher prestige, and they don't want to put forth the effort towards those things, right? They don't want to. They don't feel like they should have to. It's just that they've been there for X amount of time, but they ain't never helped other people, and that's going to be the hardest realization for them if they ever want to move up anywhere else, because sometimes they do leave, and sometimes they're fucking amazing people, and they're hard workers. But if you're not going to elevate those people around you, how good is it really, in order for other people to see those changes, you gotta dig in and do those things. Sometimes you don't want to. Maybe you don't know how to. Maybe you got bad social skills. But there's one thing for sure, is that if you continue not to do it, you're going to continue not to progress, right? You're going to continue not to get better. What do they say? They say the only thing to do is to do it. The last thing left to do is to do it, and do it to it, right? But anyways, I hope everybody has a good one. I hope you took a little bit from this ramble. If anybody wants to hear about jiu-jitsu stuff, I watch it all the time. I watch Muay Thai. I watch MMA in general. I love that stuff. Like texting the homie Josh all the time about it. We always talk about who's going to win or whatever. So I always like enjoy talking to people about fighting. But sometimes I'll come across individuals who talk about it and everything's rigged. They'll say, "Oh, this is rigged," whatever. Jake Paul's fight's rigged, or whatever. Mike Tyson should have knocked him out. He's like, Mike Tyson's an old guy, man, and Jake Paul's a young dude who's been fighting for years now. So, victory favors the youth in most cases, and I already knew from the last fight with Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. that, Mike Tyson isn't who he used to be. He's an older guy. And, I'm not taking anything away from him. He'd knock me out. I'm pretty sure he'd beat the shit out of me. But I'm also not a professional fighter. I'm also not somebody that's been doing that for years now, So it is what it is. Mike Tyson was still a hell of an opponent. He got sick right before that. And people were like, "Oh, that's no excuse." He's an old guy. It takes people longer to heal from that. He lost a significant amount of weight. I just lost 25 pounds. I think he lost a little bit more than that from being sick and still had to fight, a couple months. I don't know if that took away more cardio for him. Stuff like that happens, man. You're older. It takes longer to recover. And I'm only in my 30s, so it is what it is. But anyways, I got to get going. I hope you guys have a great one. Until next time, peace.